Coming to you live from the highlands of Scotland, it's the 10 Point Podcast. My name is Bruce, and if there's one thing that scares me, it's the self-destructive nature of the human condition.
Jesus, Bruce.
Out in the woods with me this week are the rest of my squad. First, if Little Red Riding Hood should show up with a bazooka and a bad attitude and expect you to chin the bitch, it's Chris.
Aye. I can't remember any decent quotes now.
I all the comebacks. Every quote had a comeback. Also, I've just realised that I'm on a different floor tonight, so my chair tends to drift a little bit.
He's off. He's on the piss.
And secondly, have you tried licking your balls yet? It's Andy.
Hey, I'll take that.
We are the 10 Point Podcast. You can find us at 10pointpodcast.com and every other place in the whole world where you get podcasts. You will find us. Just try 10 Point Podcast on those.
Except from Russia.
Well, yeah. If you were in Russia, I'm sure VPNs are quite available to people in Russia.
No, we did have that one listener. Hey, he's not listening anymore. He's gone.
That's a bad sign.
Yeah, maybe. moved house, maybe. I don't know. And we're also on YouTube, 10 Point Podcast over on YouTube as well. Become one of our tens of subscribers that we have over on YouTube.
Tens of hundreds.
Who like listening to all of our episodes, every last minute of all our episodes. So hit us up on all those social medias, Facebook and on Twitter. We are 10 Point Podcast on those there. Send us any messages, requests, likes, dislikes, recommendations, etc. We want to hear from you. And we are now beyond halfway through season 5 of the podcast. So we want
9 to go, isn't it? Until the big 100.
Oh, 9 seasons. Oof.
Yeah, it was 14 seasons.
Oh, I've got seasons of stuff going here.
Yeah, I mean,
we're in syndication.
That's the way we down the rabbit hole, like a movie app the other day, and I was like, oh, that would be good. Oh, that would be good. That would be good.
As well.
So yeah, we'll get on to that, I'm sure, in future seasons. Before we get on to this week's podcast, a brief run through what we've been watching in the last week. I'll go first. Not been watching any films because I don't know, I haven't got out to the cinema. Again, I threatened last week. I will be going out soon to see some. Moon Knight hit its 4th episode, and what I have learned, which I've been trying to stay away from. Right, I will try to spoil things. I will tell you then.
Take your headset off.
Plug my ears in, exactly.
I've stayed away from spoilers as best as possible as I have them with any Marvel. I've not watched anybody. Have you missed this thing in Moon Knight? Like I've none of that. This is Moon Knight. I'm going in completely blind, and I believe this is as far as anyone's got because Disney set out kind of previews to all the experts and all that up to this 4th episode, and I can see why. Spoiler free for Chris. The last 10 minutes of Moon Knight was not something I was anticipating, and
yep.
This has thrown not a U-turn but a massive sharp L-turn in this television show with what happened in the 4th episode. So I think episode 3 I was at my lowest with Moon Knight, and in this 4th episode, it's 4th episode, isn't it? Yeah, 4th episode. I was already enjoying it. The whole Indiana Jones feel to it. I'm like, okay, this is a bit more my kind of scene. And in the last 10 minutes is something else altogether. Yep. Like it's a different show.
It's just like you think you know what's happening. It's like I finally understand the story. No, you don't. It's like fuck off. Yeah. You've only got 2 episodes to explain all this. I don't need more shit.
And I'll try and be a spoiler free for Chris. I believe one character was not at all in the 4th episode, and some people were bemoaning the lack of this character. However, I enjoyed that particular character not being involved at all. I'll let Chris see it before we go any further. Maybe Moon Knight 5 and 6 might be proper talking points for us. Chris, what have you been watching if you've not watched Moon Knight?
Well, on a drunken night, I decided to watch another David Hewlett movie, The Cube. I passed out like 20 minutes into it. Well, then I thought, Joe, I'm going to give this.
Did you wake up and just go, holy shit, I'm in a fucking cube? Like,
No, I woke up and I was just like, oh, fuck, I missed the whole thing. So when I was sober, I watched it again. And do you know what? Hewlett is the fucking man. He absolutely nails it again. Yeah,
that is a film. That is the one. It's on the list. We're all gonna have to watch it, but that film is super underrated.
The idea is banging, but it's just some of the acting is shit. But not my man Hewlett.
The trilogy does go off its rails when it tries to explain the simple things of a cube. But the first one's good.
Yeah,
but not the first cube because that's what the film's called. The Cube.
Yeah, I got it.
There's one called The First Cube. Is that right? Okay.
There's one called The First Cube, and then there's Cube 2, Hypercube.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine was just Cube.
So
Cube.
Thumbs up. Good film.
Yeah, thumbs up, definitely.
There we go. Awesome. And Andy, what have you watched in the last week?
I went and watched a preview of The Unbearable Weight of a Massive Talent.
Ah, Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage.
What a film.
Yeah.
Like, there's a line that he says throughout it, right? And it's the best way to sum this film up. Nicolas Cage, what's it? I need to get it right. I'm going to get it wrong. It's roughly, I've completely forgotten. Right? I'm too happy.
Paraphrasing the line.
I'm paraphrasing it, but it's Nicolas Cage has still got it, not that he ever lost it.
Ah, okay.
And he says it all the way through the film, and it's exactly that. It's Nicolas Cage being the best Nicolas Cage with The Mandalorian. It's like, oh my god. Now,
Does he
I
keep
do
referring
wish I
to
didn't
himself
get...
in the third person?
He
He calls
does
him Nick
everything.
Cage.
He's Nicolas Cage. It's just...
And
and if you can go on watching without any... Like, you watch the first trailer.
Aye.
Don't watch the second trailer because it really put me off going to see the film.
You did say that, yeah.
However, watching the film, that second trailer didn't actually affect it at all. It is just... It keeps twisting and turning.
I can imagine
it's
it's
Nicolas
been
Cage.
utterly batshit crazy.
It's not as crazy as you think it is. It's just well done. It's just Nicolas Cage acting really well.
Yeah, I did take them up on it, but my local Cineworld was doing like Cage Fest or something like that, where
Yeah.
in one day you could watch, I think it was 5, well, it'd be 6, but 5 old Nicolas Cage films back to back to back, and then watch the new one at the end. They give
Oh,
you
you should have done it. That would have been amazing.
Could you imagine doing all of that? You just be like fucking caged out your mind.
I would get totally confused
And
who
then
he
you just
was.
walk out, start talking like Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Like, if I didn't know any better, I would say they'd like the deep fake people's faces, make them like younger and stuff.
Yeah.
I would say they did that on it because he looks younger than ever before.
Younger.
Like, it is amazing. So 100% go out and watch that.
Right. A recommendation. It was on my, out of intrigue, it was on my my maybe list, so I might go.
Yeah.
Right then, we better crack on with the actual podcast. So, on to the 10-point podcast. Point number 1, as every week on the 10-point podcast, is what is the point? The point this week: the 2002 action horror thriller Dog Soldiers. I think it's something like the 5th film I've picked from around about 2002. I'm turned into kind of Chris era kind of picker here.
Andy,
1995.
Yeah, 95, yeah. Brought to us by studios. All 4 studios made this. Kismet Entertainment Group, the Noel Gay Motion Picture Company, Victor Film Company, and Carousel Picture Company. Not one film any of them ever made after this was anything like as popular, big, or well-known as Dog Soldiers, to the point where I didn't write any of them down. So yeah, this is the success peak of all 4 of those production companies. The film, written and directed by Neil Marshall in directing his first feature film. So beyond the Dog Soldiers, he either had a hand in writing and or directing The Descent, Doomsday, Tales of Halloween, the 2019 version of Hellboy, and The Reckoning, a film that came out quite recently. Plus, he's also directed episodes of television shows Black Sails, Game of Thrones, Hannibal, and Westworld. So he's into the big, what they call prestige television shows these days.
I feel like I have to watch The Descent and Doomsday because they keep popping up.
Doomsday.
Doomsday.
What a film.
Doomsday has a lot of the same cast as this. I don't think
I noticed that and I was scrolling through them.
I don't think I mentioned too many of them later on, but yeah, a lot of them. Starring in our film, the guy who was first on the credits was Sean Pertwee as Sergeant Wells. I refer to him as Sarge for the rest of my notes because they didn't actually say Wells very clearly at any point. So to me, he was just Sarge. And I really struggled to find what Sean Pertwee was actually famous for. He's a guy who I very much know, and I knew him before he was in Dog Soldiers, but I don't know what I know him from. So after
is where I think I've seen him from.
Yeah, exactly. But that's decades after when he was famous. You know what I'm saying? So Event Horizon seems to be the biggest first thing I could find. Then Dog Soldiers, then Equilibrium, and then he was in the first 2 Goal movies. If you remember them, Chris. I don't know if you
never watched them.
No, me neither. But then, his most successful possibly role was playing Alfred in Gotham for.
He's amazing.
Was it 4 or 5 seasons? I don't know how long Gotham was around.
4 seasons.
4 seasons of Gotham. However, in my eyes, the actual star, the leading role in the film, Private Cooper, was played by Kevin McKidd. He is probably most famous for being in Trainspotting. He played Tommy in Trainspotting before being in Dog.
I thought you were going to pick that as part of your Scottish theme.
I thought it was too obvious. That's way too obvious, especially because there's a very obvious pick coming that everyone could probably see coming a mile off. But I thought I'll stay away from Trainspotting, and also I wanted to do 28 Days Later, which is a lot of people involved in Trainspotting in 28 Days Later. So thought I'd leave it alone. Might come to it at some point. That was before Dog Soldiers. Afterwards, he was in Kingdom of Heaven. He was in the Rome television show that I was very aware of. It was a very highly publicised show and then seemed to disappear off the face of the earth.
I think it was just all ass and titties.
Maybe. And then he was in Maid of Honor, as in the kind of wedding film, nothing kind of army related. But on the army scene, I forgot, and this to me is his most important role. He's Soap McTavish in the Call of Duty movies. Soap is just about the best guy in all of Call of Duty, so he was him. Then he was in Brave, but I think his actual most famous role is 300 plus episodes of Grey's Anatomy, is where Kevin McKidd has been for the last 20 years. Has been
That's
in
where Chantal knows him from.
so I think he's worldwide known for being that. I've got a bit of trivia on Kevin McKidd. He cracked a rib within the first few days of shooting Dog Soldiers. He hid it from the director for fear that he would be replaced upon finding out he was injured. Eventually, the pain was too much and revealed his injury, at which point the director replaced him with Jason Statham. But then Statham had to turn down the role eventually due to his commitment and scheduling conflicts with the film Ghosts of Mars that he was filming.
What a film.
To wait for Kevin McKidd to heal and got back again. So he was actually
a completely different film with Jason Statham.
I know, the tone would be a bit different.
That's made one of my categories easier later on.
There we go. So that's Kevin McKidd. And then I missed out Emma Cleesby, because literally this and Doomsday are the biggest films she ever made and hasn't made a film in the last 9 years. So she was actually next in the cast. So yeah, she's in it. So we've got Liam Cunningham as Captain Ryan, was the and person on the credits. After being in Dog Soldiers, he was in The Wind That Shakes the Barley, Hunger, Clash of the Titans, and then most famously, he was Davos in Game of Thrones for most of the run of that worldwide phenomenon.
He's a perfect example, for a slight spoiler for this, of how you can hate somebody and like somebody in completely different roles.
Good. I'm glad you've mentioned that. I'm sure that will come up later on. Dog Soldiers, made on a budget of $2 million. Its opening weekend in the UK was $1 million. Its final UK gross, that's out of habit, UK gross was $2.9 million. Worldwide, it raked in a total $3.5 million. So it made money, but not a huge amount, mainly coming in Britain. It was released on the 10th of May, 2002. It got 5 award wins in its history, one of which was its only nomination at the 2003 Saturn Awards. Yeah. It was nominated for Best DVD Release, which it won, but nothing else. No other acting or horror or anything categories. It won Best DVD. So its other 4 wins at other award ceremonies, 3 were for writer-director Neil Marshall, and 1 was also for the DVD as well. So this was a good DVD. I don't know what was so good about it, but people loved this.
I don't know if I should admit to this. This is back in the day when I used to do a little bit of a backhanders. I think this is one of the very first dodgy DVDs I ever got.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm all legit now, guys. I don't need the police knocking at the door.
My actual memory from where I first remember watching this was one of the last ever videos I rented at the garage.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a throwback. Yeah. I don't know.
I actually think it was a DVD at the garage, but it was before the garage got rid of the DVD rental things they had up there.
I'll skip on to what we normally do around a wee bit later, but yeah, since you mentioned it, so I picked it this week to fit my theme, and also I had to change a couple of bits and pieces around, and I'd never seen it before, so I'm assuming both of you guys had seen it. I had never seen this. One of these films just aware of, and I'm always like, oh, it's set in Scotland, oh, it's got people I kind of know in it and all that, but I just never actually watched it. This
time it actually happened instantly, not possibly maybe at the end.
Scotland, like, yes. No, and it immediately goes North Wales, whatever. Like, oh my god, the whole thing's like at least a little bit. And which channel we normally find it on? For me, it's Channel 4. This is very much
Channel 4, Film 4.
I guess Film 4, but Channel 4. And there's only one version of it, so we all watch the same one. There's no any other cuts whatsoever. It is how it is. Synopsis for Dog Soldiers, written by Angel, which is part of his or her username. I won't go into all the rest of it. The Angel. They picked this, or they said this about Dog Soldiers. A British squad is sent on a training mission in the Highlands of Scotland against Special Operations Squad. Ignoring the childish campfire stories heard about the area, they continue with their mission and come across the bloody remains of the Special Ops Squad, and a fierce howling is pitching the night sky. With 2 mortally wounded men, they make an escape, running into a zoologist by the name of Megan, who knows exactly what hunts them. What began as what they thought was a training mission turns into a battle for their lives against the most unlikely enemies they would have expected. werewolves. That was a belter of a sentence at the end there. Soldiers in the Woods, there's werewolves after them, which I didn't think they were going to get around to. I thought it was one of these films where they skirt around the issue where they never say the W word, but they very much went all in. These are werewolves. What is going on? Point 2 on the Template podcast is the high points. What we thought the best bits and things about the film are. Normally, who picks goes first. So I will lead off with, well, I know very early on who the villain is in this film, as Davos from Game of Thrones shoots a dog for no reason. You're the bad guy here. Was that when you turned on him, Chris?
Oh yeah, like it's going to come up in my low points, but I'll just do it now. Anybody who shoots a dog is literally a fucking prick. Doesn't matter. He could go on to be Superman later on in the film. He's still a prick because he killed a dog. There's no need for it.
Like, I don't mind. Like, I mean, I don't mind, but you know what I'm saying. It is defensible if it's one of these angry bad guy dogs that is trying to tear you limb from limb, and they've been taught to kill. It's like, well, that's self-defense. But yeah, that literally was shoot this dog for me.
I reckon I'm going to give a high point now. I've just thought of one right in my head. I reckon this film was the entire plot for John Wick. So I'm giving this film some props because it led to John Wick.
That's the thing. There has to be, surely somebody as part of that kind of army setup thing where the training was happening. There has to be the dog carer, the guy who looks after the animals.
Exactly. It's like, damn it, I'm going to start again.
I googled this. Apparently, dogs outrank a lot of people. And he could get like court-martialed and like demoted for that. So unless they're like super like.
I watched that new Channing Tatum dog film bagging as well.
Oh yeah, the dog. Yeah, looks good.
It's called Dog.
It's called Dog. Yeah. Very on the nose, as it were.
I'll kind of lead off like just before that. I think is when the very start where you see the two couple in the woods going, "Oh, this is all romantic," and they're getting down to it, and then just the silence of her getting grabbed, and there's no screaming, there's nothing, there's just a struggle, and then that's it, splatter, and you're like, "Oh shit, it's going down now."
Well, you mentioned that there was definitely screaming.
Chris. Oh, afterwards, but like, because there was like no noise for a while. It was just a tug of war.
I like the whole like. Also, the guy's hand going down and unzipping what I thought was the sleeping bag or whatever it was, and then he stops, but the zipping sound continues. I very much like that. And then you see the tent get unzipped. That was a very, very. I like what they did there. That got. That probably should be a high point. Yeah, the tent, the zip switcheroo was very good.
I really brought that up because I'd seen it before, but for that first happened, you hear the zip and you're like, "Oh shit, what's that?"
And again, like it's a kind of film that's like. It's called Dog Soldiers, and immediately there's a dog kind of animal thing attacking in the first scene. You're like, okay, right. It's not. We're not getting the origin story of how these soldiers became dogs. They're already there.
I like the fact that they're hoping that you know enough about werewolves to just you don't have to do like an origin of how werewolves come from. That's it. You just
okay then. I don't like if it's your high and low points. I don't really know, but I haven't got this written down. My knowledge of werewolves isn't great. So I get a vampire bites you, does stuff with blood, you turn into a vampire. How does a werewolf turn you into a werewolf? Because that's
same thing.
Pretty much, yeah.
So it's that's the thing, because our guy Captain Ryan, he was a human, he got attacked, and then he turned into a werewolf in this film.
It's all like scratches that turn you.
I'm pretty sure it's in their claws or something like that.
Because like, everyone seemed to have the scratches across the chest, and then they started healing. So it must be. So
yeah, it must definitely be because they actually kill people. They bite people and kill them, eat them.
Well, that's when they're hungry.
Yeah. So what's the difference? Like, do they go, "Oh, I want you to be a werewolf," or "I want to eat you"? I
think they were going to kill and eat them, but they got stopped and ran away, which is why they turned people.
Right, which seems like a strange sort of
like the example that I would use is with Sarge. Is when this is for on, he gets caught and Coop comes in and shoots him and it runs away. Yeah. And then that's it.
But then they were keeping like humans in the basement. Like they were definitely hanging snacks up for later.
Yeah, that's coming up later on. I've never noticed that point before.
Give on to my points then. My next high point is the tattoo story was very good. I very much enjoyed his tale.
I've got one before that.
Or go.
Chopper Squad.
I
was a bit dubious at the start of this film because it's just like, it's a bit slow, and it's like, it's a bit shit. And then suddenly when that chopper comes in, it's like full HD kicks, and it's like, oh my god, here's where the budget went to. They've rented the chopper and just landing everybody in.
But on that subject, the insurance could not cover the actors being close to the helicopter like that. So therefore, a lot of the crew of the film were actually army trained or special forces trained and all that sort of stuff. So they doubled as the squadron coming off. So the people who you see coming off the helicopter aren't the actors. It's
that was
actual
one guy who said, "I don't want to go," and then you drag him out. He's never seen again.
Yeah, that's one thing. It probably is a low point. Kind of getting baffled about how many people there are and how many werewolves there are and who's dead and like they did. I know there's someone called Joe. I know there's someone called Spoon. I know there's the main two and all that. But beyond that, I couldn't. So like
I was struggled as well.
My deaths are all over the place. I'm sure at least 2 of them got killed without me even noticing. Like, as in, there was 7 of them, and all of a sudden there's 5, and they're talking about 2 where people got killed. When did that happen? Like that, really? And then me trying to work out how many actual werewolves there are as well. And I'm like, so have they been turned as they're no werewolf, and then who's dead and all that? Like, it's a bit confusing. I don't know if it's intentional, and I guess they'll say, "Oh, we want it to be like that, so you never know what's going on," and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I felt like it was a bit confusing, even from the beginning, how many people are in the little team. Any other kind of early high points? Because mine are about halfway through after that.
I like the storytelling, but then straight after that storytelling is the shitting it up. Like, I completely forgot about it.
I'm exactly the same. I forget about it every time. I'm like, I'm so engrossed in that story, just watching it, going, and it gets quite quiet, it sucks you in, and you're like, oh, that's great. Then I fucking shit myself.
Yes, I'll be able to. It's of all the things you thought would happen, a dead cow falling into the camp is not in the top 100. I think.
Well, the funny thing was, like, literally, you see the Highland cows maybe like 2 minutes beforehand, and Chantel was like, "Oh yeah, there's cows in this, but there's no dead cows in it," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is." Then I literally forgot, and it's fucking there. I was like, "Oh my god, dead cow out of nowhere."
So it was a Spoon right afterwards. Everybody's going, "Is everybody okay?" And Spoon goes, "No, I think I shit myself." And I was like, "I'm right with you, Spoon. Yep, me too."
But yeah, I was very happy that cows made it, because I was at the point now where I'm thinking, it's been a while. I keep saying cows, there weren't any. That's going to be eliminated from the stats. So our quota came back that there were 2 cows, possibly 3. I'm assuming the dead one was one of the ones we saw. If not, it may be a 3rd cow. But yeah, a lot of cows. So I'm in the house as my next high point.
Since I mentioned, I'm going to say Spoon.
Spoon.
Anytime Spoon said anything, did anything, I thought he was fucking hilarious.
His clips were brilliant all the way through.
Yeah, there are really funny bits. Like the script's actually a lot better than I think I realised as I was watching it. Some really good bits. And then, like I said earlier, everything has a comeback. There's always like, guy says funny thing, and then there's always a funny comeback as well. They always come in pairs.
I do like the bit where you kind of start seeing, like, it's like kind of Predator style, and it's like the camera's changing. I don't like the camera colors and stuff like that, but I like when they're like, "Oh shit, what's this?" And it's like, oh, and then you just get the guy who's running, and it's like, right, he's gonna get killed by a werewolf. No, he just killed himself with a tree.
It's very much a low point for me. You mentioned it, so I might as well talk about it. I've got Bruce's suicide here, letting me down, really letting me down badly here. Being called Bruce. His gun won't fire, so he tries it, still won't fire. So he decides to run off into a denser bit of forest, and then impale him on a tree branch that is so thick and blunt that he must have been running at about 50 miles an hour, actually breaking skin. I don't know how he didn't see it. I don't know what was going on. I don't know. My research, something jogged my memory that actually a same death happened in Tucker and Dale, one of the teenagers.
Oh yeah.
I was like, they did it better. That was better in that film than this. This was just Bruce's suicide at the hands of nobody was a very disappointing scene.
My next point is probably when they actually start getting attacked by the werewolves. It is just after they find the injured dog killer prick, and like you can hear in the background, you can hear the family that is attacking them transforming and screaming.
Oh, okay.
I never noticed that before. Do you not notice? Right.
I didn't notice that.
But they're talking about when the patch up Ryan goes, "There's only supposed to be one." You can hear in the background screams and then howls of people transforming.
Ah, okay. Good. Yeah, layers.
It all starts kicking off and running. But yeah, you mentioned it. Soldiers who don't know how to fire a gun are fucking ridiculous. That's their job. It's the one thing they're paid to do.
It was a training exercise. He was training himself.
But you should still know how to fire a gun. Like,
and also, I don't feel like it was I don't think it was a case of the sergeant and
it was
taking
that
a
one.
bunch of. Yeah, I don't think it was a case of taking these absolute noobs out into the woods to practice with fake guns. It was a case of they're an actual little squadron, and they've been called by a higher up to go do this training exercise thing. So yeah, they seemed a trifle more useless than they really should have been.
That sequence, when they run in the woods, I think is really good. I mean,
I did like that one. Like, and then they run getting into the house. But there was bits of it. It was the problem with it all the way through this film is there's good bits instantly with bad bits.
Yeah,
I think that's through it being a bit dated now. I think it's not quite as good as it might have been. When they're running through the woods, I'm trying to work out how many dogs there are, like how many dog soldiers are chasing them. I was like, is it just one? What's going on? He said they're only supposed to be one, but they only ever see one at a time, so I can't work out. Again, at this point, is there a million of them chasing them? I couldn't really tell. So yeah, my next high point. I was
going to say the effects in general is my next high point, because like the Sarge's insides look horrific. You just see them jiggling about. He's like, oh look, sausages.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's later on, isn't it?
Yeah, sausages. When his insides fell out, it looked bad. Like it looked horrible. But the fact that he just pushed them back in and run down the hill, like he seems to not be suffering that bad.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, high point to a low point.
Yeah,
this is my ongoing bit from now on. Is his guts, because it's like the new sewers to me. Because no, that would not happen if you were that fucked up. There's no way anybody's picking you up. You're just managing to hold them in, get in a fucking house, get like super glue. Oh my god, would not hold that well. He gets up. He then like has a full-on battle. Like, and his guts are still held together by the super glue. No,
he was managing to fire a gun in the woods.
Well, I feel like beyond his time in bed, I feel like he's already healing with werewolf super healing powers, would he not? So I guess he would then be getting stronger.
True, but there was a massive gash.
He should definitely be dead before that point. Like I've got my next high point is tied to this. I really enjoyed the actual dogs, like the pet dog, eating Sarge's loose guts. I thought that was a really fun scene.
Do you know what? It's not even the guts; it's the bandage.
Yeah, that's what I found out.
I thought it was the guts as well. Yeah,
that's I had the Mandela effect because I was certain it was guts until I watched it this time.
They wanted to do it as guts. This is part of my trivia research. They wanted to do it as like coming after him, but they decided to opt for the bandage instead. But then the bandage got so soaked with like fake blood and all that sort of stuff, it looks like the guts. And every audience they ever showed it to always thought that it was the actual dog eating his inside. So they thought, oh, well, in the end, we got to look back around to being the desired effect. But yeah, I really like that. They're trying to fight off these bloody werewolves at the door. The one pet dog is trying to eat one of them.
This is like
I love the Ryan karma as well. Of how many like somebody shoot that dog up and he's going to shoot it and he gets puked on.
Yeah, which I say the guy directed his vomit onto his head. He had the whole rest plate. It's like he went.
That's what I would do.
Intentionally went for him.
Yeah, second film back to back with a really good doggy.
Yeah. Well, it both got dog in the title, I guess, but that was completely unplanned as well. Any other high points? I've got a few more.
No, I'm just like
the main battle. Just the main battle.
Although actually, my next high point is seeing that werewolf behind me creeping in the window. Like it creeps you out every time.
Up to that point, I felt the wolves were a bit iffy. I'm like, okay, it looks like it's just someone holding a giant dog head in the window, going whoa, sort of thing. But then once they come into it, like you as the viewer come in to that room and that dog is in there coming to get him. I'm like, oh, okay, actually, yeah, this does look good.
And that's always like that's why I went for that image, because that's like one of my highlights of the whole movie is seeing that wolf creeping in.
The just before that, or a few scenes before that, in the same room though, I've got one of my high points was knocking out Sarge before they did the operation on him, where he's like he punches him and he goes, "Bleh!" and he gets back up again. Really funny. But then again, my research dug up a bit of trivia. Kevin McKidd throws a stage punch the first time he tried to do it, but misjudged the distance of the second punch and caught Sean Pertwee on the nose. But Pertwee had decided on this day, whatever, that he wanted to do a bit of method acting, and he asked the director, drunk before we filmed the scene. So apparently he'd been boozed all day, and that's like a proper whiskey he had on him. So he was so drunk that he didn't feel the fact that he'd actually been punched and he wanted to catch things beyond it. So that's how bad he feel the punch. And on the subject of the dogs, apparently it wasn't stuntmen to play the dogs, it was dancers. They bought people who had a background in dance to play the dogs because they wanted to have a sort of elongated sort of strange movement about them. So yeah, they're top dancers.
That's coming into a low point. We'll get back to them.
Rather than burning through all of them. That's really a high point. I just wrote down this bit. Are the family from the house the werewolves? And I just got called it after that. So I predicted it. But yeah, I did it. When they first showed the photograph and then the camera lingered on it, I'm like, I've no idea how many wolves there are. Are there 5 of them? Is that how many there is? It's going to be, because there's like the food was cooking and all that, and I'm like, right, let me explain it, that they were that this was the family. So yeah, I saw that twist coming. I think it was presented as a twist half an hour later in the film. And my last highlight I've got is through the first 3 quarters of the film. I very much enjoyed Captain Ryan, the buzzkill, sitting in the corner. That anytime they had some sort of plan, nah, that's not going to work. Nah. Just shitting on every plan they had or every idea they had. He was just like, nah, no, you can't do that. You can't. Well, Taylor said, nah, I'm not going to do that either. I was enjoying it off the whole time. That's my final high point outside of
my last.
Yeah,
my last one's the explosion. What an explosion! Finally, the whole episode without an explosion. We get one. Get 2, 3.
You see, an explosion. They blew up a car, a barn, and a house in this film. So you got.
Aye.
Yeah, which actually wasn't a real house. It was a set house that they built. It looks like a little cottage in the middle.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's only, I think there's only 3 sides to it, or maybe even, I think 3 sides.
See, I remember being younger, I'm going to say a kid, but younger, watching this film for the first time, and thinking I knew that house. I thought it was just up the road from where we live.
I think I know exactly what you mean.
And I'm like, I've definitely seen that house. Did they film it there?
It looks really good. The whole thing was filmed in Luxembourg, neither Scotland nor North Wales. The entire
definitely wasn't near our place then.
You're lucky Kevin Kidd's in this, otherwise you'll be getting vetoed again.
Yeah, it's set in Scotland. It's presented in Scotland. That's different. Yeah, final battle's pretty good though, with them against the wolves. Very much highs and lows, but it has to be the high point. This sort of film always builds up tension.
Well, I like the little bit when he's in like the cupboard and he shoots down through the floor.
Oh yeah.
They do the thing of open your mouth, so obviously it doesn't pop your ears and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a little bits they got right on it.
Yeah, very much. The details work pretty well. And the last high point I'm thinking of, I've got written down. For some reason, it was terrifying, satisfying, and everything you want from a film when the final dog soldier had the sword in his teeth.
No.
Emotions and feelings that they were good, not necessarily enjoyable, but they were good. I like that.
Sword going through his teeth gives me the heaves every time.
Yeah.
Mine isn't real. I never noticed this in previous viewings until this one, but when Coop first goes out in the house and you go into the fire, there's a leg bone on the fire. And then when they're talking about the soup and they said, oh, it looks like pork. I never noticed that before, and then I called the fact, oh, that's human meat. They're fucking eating people. And then I forgot what you see all the bodies down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why he's probably spewed up on them.
Exactly.
Yep.
There we are. Is that us for high points then?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Right, so I've got point 3 on the podcast. Normally low points, but I've got it written as bone points this time. Because if you remember rightly, bone means bollocks, not very good. Which is I don't know if they tried to get that to catch on after this film, but it did not work. Low points. And
as you mentioned it, fucking Joe, his constant bitching about the football. I mean, it's your job. Deal with it.
Yeah. The football.
Before that, mine's.
All right, on you go.
Mine's just the long, slow start. Like I didn't like it. Like it looks like a different film being filmed. At the start, it's all over the shop. So you get these big sweeping shots, which is definitely filmed on a different camera from them in a tent, which is then a completely different camera from there. It just looks a bit pieced together. It's like, oh god, it's a budget film. It's a B movie. We're fucked up.
Since you mentioned some of the camera shots just look really shit. Like it changes
really
exactly, really grainy.
Yeah,
it kind of pulls you out of it a little bit.
They didn't have a huge budget, but they had a budget 5 times the size of bloody last week's film, Dog's Breakfast. So,
but he did nick a bunch of the cameras off of a set of a successful TV show.
I don't have a hell of a lot. I have a massive low point. Like this was.
Is it the woman? Because she annoys the shit out of me.
Not great. I'll say that it's not her, but you can have a go at her now if you want.
Yeah, I just like as soon as I even remember the first time I watched it and she pulls up in the car, I'm like, she's in on it.
Yeah,
I
who is
didn't
she?
know
Why is
how.
she there? Yeah, exactly.
But I didn't know how. But then when suddenly she said, "Oh yeah, the nearest thing is 4 hours from is Fort William," I'm like, bullshit.
Here we go.
This is gonna take.
Here we go. Andy has hit my.
I can get from down south up to Scotland in less than 4 hours. I'm calling bullshit on that.
This film, the whole thing is, again, it's one of these films where actually she might just have been lying. Now, that's because she's bad. However, like, they're soldiers. Some knowledge is based on being a soldier. The nearest population centre, and she goes, like a town, yes, is allegedly Fort William and is 4 hours away by car. If you're in Fort William and you were to drive for 4 hours, you could reach John O'Groats, i.e. as far north as you could possibly go in Scotland, or Carlisle. So that's in England. So therefore, if they're in Scotland and are 4 hours drive from this place, that's literally, you can't be 4 hours away and in Scotland.
I did try and semi-defend this point to Chantel. I was like, well, if they were up in like middle of nowhere and it was like a proper like CB road, dirt track, it might have took some time. However, yeah, it's highly unlikely. And then instantly it's like, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there, as soon as she finds them and she's fucking about with the gears, I think there she's trying to get them caught. And then it was not until Coop's like, no, put him in reverse, then forward, and then she drives off and she's like, ah, fuck, he's got me here.
What is her game plan? Like, she
That's the
is.
problem. Yeah. She's
a werewolf.
werewolf.
She's part of the family. She doesn't seem to like being part of the family. She says something about that at some point, right at the end.
Yeah.
But she does let them in and does side with them.
I think it's when they, because they're there for a training exercise, it's Ryan's people that she doesn't like because they're there to kill them. And then it's not until Coop says, I think, right, we're going to blow every last one of the fuckers up in the barn. Then she kind of flips.
Right. So maybe she's like waiting for a cure or something like that, and she thought that the army's going to help me here. They're going to capture my family, give me a cure. But it doesn't make that at all. It just seems like, oh shit, it's the time of the month, and then she turns evil.
Yeah, I don't understand how can she control that until she's like, okay, I'm just going to give into it. Because they, as soon as the Roman hit, they all turn, apart from her. It doesn't make any sense.
Or do they come charging it in the woods because there's people there? Like,
werewolves, anytime there's a full moon, that's when they turn into werewolf. You can't control werewolfism.
Yeah,
I thought you can, seemingly. Like, it's like it's,
so that's a major low point on werewolf law.
Yeah, and like, I didn't mind the twist that, oh my god, Captain Ryan's a werewolf now. I don't know a twist. Like,
he saw that one coming.
Yeah, he turned, but I quite enjoyed. Okay, that makes sense. He was attacked. Again, I'm not really knowing how werewolves work. I was like, all right, okay, that's how it works. And Sean Pertwee turns as well and all that. But yeah, for her the entire time to be hiding the fact that she's a werewolf, and then
you can see the claw marks on her arm. I never noticed this until there's a certain scene when she takes her top, like a thingamay off. You can see claws on her arm.
There you go.
Oh, look at
see, I'm noticing this thing. I know.
It's because you watched it 5 times because you kept falling asleep.
Oh, that's good.
Not this time. I watched this twice.
We've got Chris doing the eagle-eyed deep diving on the film.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think I briefly mentioned it in the high points, is soldiers who don't know what they're doing. They were awfully jumpy. I mean, they should, like, even as soon as they got off the helicopter, they're like, I don't want to do this. It's like, well, it's your job, do it. Deal with it. And Joe using her shotgun as a fucking sniper.
Yeah.
I'm not knowing how
reminds me of Sean in Call of Duty.
I'm
done out, shit.
It's very much a movie trope that you never make films about a squadron of soldiers who know what they're doing. It's always a squadron of soldiers who are out of their depth and they don't know what
Terry was the worst though. How he became a fucking soldier is beyond me. I'm not like an actual soldier, but he just looked hurt. He's a spewer. He leaves his posts. He can't. It was Bruce who can't shoot a weapon.
Yeah. Or run sensibly. Think
Bruce was useless in this film.
Yeah, I don't know what his problem was. Similar to this, I've just got WTF written down and in brackets. What was the barn plan all about? So obviously she ran the distraction plan of go and do that so that to help my side of my team over here. However, they did absolutely no recon whatsoever for this barn that is sitting wide open. Like, the thing that was in the barn was a car. That car is now out of the barn and the doors are open. And you're like, oh, they're all in there, are they? Oh, I'm not going to bother looking at the barn. I'm just going to believe you that they're all over there. And then Kevin McKidd drives a car towards an empty barn and jumps out of the car before getting to it, and was right next to the barn when he ran away, and he can't look in and see there's no dogs in there. So that's a poorly thought out idea.
The car was moving, just get everybody in the car and drive as far down as you can go.
Well, of course, the whole thing could have been like, they just could have kept going in the car. Ignore what this weird random woman who rocked up in the middle of nowhere telling you, oh, there's a house down there. And also, like, how, even in 2002, would there not be a phone for 4 hours? Like, she's either absolutely clearly lying or just go look for one, because surely at some point you would find one.
Also, if you think like Scottish Power, they've got to run power cables to a house that's 4 hours away from anything.
Well, just because of the generator. So
maybe the generator.
But the lights off. So, but yeah,
there
has to be something. There has to be something. So yeah, I don't know.
Right. My kind of last low point is the wolves themselves are both good and utterly dog shit at the same time.
Yep.
So kind of like what you said, they kind of look like puppets. But the bit that gets me is when you see them right behind Chris, they look absolutely like the costume looks pretty good.
Mm.
But then when they start moving and doing the weird slow arms, I was like, oh my god, what the fuck? It's like punch down doors.
Every other time, like they're chasing somebody, they're fast as fuck. They can bolt it down, and then they're like, "Ooh, I'll just creep in."
It's almost like shit. This is my house. I can't ruin the wallpaper.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're tearing through the woods at like 100 miles an hour, chasing after people, and then they get in the house and they're just fucking dancing around like fucking fairies. Yeah.
It was one of my bits to help me guess that it was the family from the house. Was they chased them into the house, and then essentially once the soldiers shut the door, they all just like, oh well, we'll hands off now. Rather than if there were these gigantic ravenous beasts trying to kill them, they would just keep going. But I thought, why would they stop? You know, that's more thought about it. Right, okay, maybe that's what they are. I've got one actual low bit was when they essentially at one time they defeated the animals, and one guy, probably Chris's least favorite, stands next to the window and goes, "Dogs, more like pussies." I think it's eaten by it. It's like, what?
That's what I mean. Like, you did check his sex. The window's just standing against the fucking open window. The worst of the worst.
Horrible line and a horrible death to have.
Well, I've actually just got another one. I just thought, werewolves seem to be indestructible unless you get poked by a little bit of silver.
Yeah.
Because Spoonie absolutely nailed them with a fucking knife. Blood everywhere. Shotgun shots to their faces. Bullets to their faces. Little silver knife. Dead.
My last one, I've got an answer for it, but I've got, what was the bit with the glass in her hand all about? Like, at the time, I was like, what is that about? And it turns into a werewolf, and I'm like, okay.
I thought maybe there was like some of their blood. I didn't realise she was a werewolf. The very, very first time I watched it, I thought, oh, she's cut her hand and maybe some werewolf juice got into it, and that's how she turned.
But no, for the whole time. Apparently, that was the little setup for future films. Was that in the future there was going to be werewolf DNA sort of on this glass window and all that. I don't know, some nonsense like that. But they never made any sequels. I think it has been made into a TV show. I forgot to actually look up, but I think there is a Dog Soldiers television show one way or another. But
that's getting blasted.
I could be way wrong.
I think there was meant to be a TV film, but they never got. I think it was on a Kickstarter and everything.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what the glass window bit, because it seemed just really out of place and never played into anything beyond that. So I'm really confused. So as for low points, I've certainly run mine dry.
Yeah, I'm out.
Okay, we better crack on. Point 4 on the podcast is our statistics, where we keep stats and things like that about the films. There were 20 shits, shites, or shats in this film. I counted all 3 of them. However, it's me again with another British film that I always keep picking. 72 F-bombs in this. This is one a minute nearly, and then 1 C-bombs. I think only one.
Yeah, boy.
One snuck in the middle. It was one of your favourites, one of the Spoonie or Joe or whoever else, or Terry and all that. One of them. I think it might have been when he was doing the little stabby. There was one snuck in a rant somewhere. One of them, 72 F-bombs, 11 explosions to keep Andy happy, and I think 23 deaths, but I have absolutely no idea. Like, I really don't know. And I don't know who died, who turned into a werewolf, who didn't turn into a werewolf, who was eaten, who wasn't, something like that. Region of there. On to our quotas, which hit big this week. Both a dead cow and a dead dog, and other several dead dog men. Either 2 cows or 3 cows, depending on if the dead one was one of the living ones we saw. No goats, no peeing that I could remember. No paedophiles, no Nazis, no KKK. The devil made an appearance in the story. He was the tattoo on Eddie's butt cheek was of the devil, so he made an appearance. The film's called Dog Soldier.
Oh.
Stop.
Two dogs.
You have to repeat that.
Actual dogs. What did I? Sorry. The film is called Dog Soldiers, so I counted dogs and soldiers. 2 dogs, the actual dogs. I don't know how many dog men. At least another 6.
Oh no, yeah, got you. Carry on.
Yeah, 2 dogs. At least another 6 because there was the family of 5 plus Megan who was taking the photograph. So it was at least those 6, and then the 3 that turned in, or kind of sort of did turn in. And then I think 12 soldiers. That is the actual squadron, and then other army-related people who are in it. So I think about a dozen soldiers. So, but again, this film confused me with that. And I want actual stat about the film. When the squadron first lands in its helicopter, the sergeant says, "Get a position and a bearing. I want to be on the move in 3 minutes." The command moves from that area exactly 180 seconds later. And they move exactly 3 minutes to the second.
Ooh, nice.
There you go.
I like it when things like that happen.
Exactly. Very good.
Satisfying.
And did they say the thing? Did they say dog soldiers?
No.
No, not in the same sentence.
They definitely said soldiers and they said dogs. Dog soldiers. Chris, have you any stats?
Yeah, because Joe was saying the word that often, the word bone is used 9 times. But I thought it was going to be a lot more. I remember it being bone, 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 bone. Like completely, every other word was bone.
I only really heard him doing his little monologue on it. I didn't really hear him actually using it out of place elsewhere.
I use it all the time.
Maybe I just tuned.
And because of his love of football, I counted the football's reference 10 times. That's also including the whistling song as they're walking along. It's like Ipswich Town or something like that.
That's a little. It's definitely a chant, isn't it? On the football subject, this film, if we are in the same universe as it, takes place on the 1st of September 2001, because that is when England beat Germany 5-1. So this film would come out after that. So therefore, probably what they were referencing. So that game did happen. Any other stats from you, Chris?
No, that's me.
Well, you mentioned the screaming, which is why I picked up on it. It was not a Wilhelm scream, but when the woman gets yanked at the tent, it's
that one. I've heard that before.
It's a very recognisable stock scream that she gave that I've heard in games and films and TV shows for very many years.
That's another one I've got to add now.
Yeah,
I don't call that.
As a name. Yeah, soldier's tent scream. Andy, most pornographic scene for you in this one?
It's kind of, I'm going on, like, there wasn't that much pornographic stuff in this film to thingy. The stew didn't look that appetizing. It was a bit humane. So I'm basically going to steal one of yours, which is never not good, but put it at pornographic scene, which is Chopper Squad. People jump out of a chopper. It's not fully landed, but they just jump out of it.
Oh, yeah.
It just works.
Yeah, it's not it's satisfying, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, on to point 5 on the podcast. Point 5 is the 10-point podcast quiz, and Andy is the quiz master.
Right, here we go. So I don't have a catchy title because I literally forgot. And also, we can make up the rules on the fly of this one. So we can either have it as a buzzer round, or we can have it back and forth. So you guys can decide.
I prefer back and forth.
I think I prefer back and forth.
Right, we're going to do a back and forth. And this, since the film's called Dog Soldiers, this is called Podcast Soldiers.
Podcast Soldiers, okay.
So it's basically, we have either actors. Did
Andy just feature you?
Oh, yeah.
This film that we have done.
For once, to stop you. What was that?
You cut out in the middle of there, Andy. We heard it. Basically, you stopped. So
basically, it's you either name the actor, name the character name, or name the film. It's going to be a variation of one of those 3 for a film that is on the podcast. Previous episode.
Okay.
So we'll start off nice and easy. So do you want to name the actor, the character, or the film, Bruce?
Actor, character, or film. So let's start with the film. Let's go easy.
Right, you want to name the film.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give you the clue of Colonel William Guile.
Okay. So I know that as Street Fighter.
Street Fighter, correct.
Yeah.
So nice and simple.
Okay.
Chris, do you want character, film, or actor?
I'll let you pick. You just ask the question. I'll
dealer's
name
choice.
something.
Okay. You're not always going to get a choice, but sometimes if
Yeah.
you do pick a choice, it could be vague, and it's the one I've got written down because they could have been in multiple. So it's a gamble. Right.
Okay.
So, Chris, what film would you find Private Isabel Dizzy Flores from?
Dizzy, I know the name, Dizzy Flores. Dizzy
Yes.
Dizzy.
I've got it.
And it will get passed over if you don't get it.
I want to say Edge of Tomorrow, but it's not Edge of Tomorrow.
Passing it over.
Passed over. I
Oh
thought
no, I know what it is now.
Passed over.
Fuck.
I thought it was Edge of Tomorrow, so I'm just going to guess that.
Oh no, it's not
Oh, no.
Aliens.
Ah,
It was Starship Troopers.
Ah, okay.
Dizzy from Starship Troopers. Right,
Oh.
Bruce. Jesus, that was an emotional roller coaster.
I
Right, Bruce, this one is you've just got to give me the rank. So it's
Right.
a military rank
right.
for Dan Taylor.
Dan Taylor. I don't know who Dan Taylor is. I'm just going to guess Sergeant.
It's not Sergeant. Gets passed over to Chris.
Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump.
Of course. All right.
Right, Chris, you got a similar question. That's going to be too hard for you. I'm trying to make them fairly easy. Actually, no, I'll give you this from Chris. Chris's favorite film. Right, Chris. What is the first name of Grim from Doom, played by Carl Urban?
Oh, fuck.
Just his first name. I don't need his rank, just his first name.
Oh my god.
It's not easy, and I've got loads of these to go, so fire free. If you don't know, pass them over.
That's Sam. I don't know.
Nope.
No, that's his
Chris.
sister's name.
I was going to guess John, but then you said it wasn't easy, so I'm assuming it's not.
It is.
It is John, you
It
got
is
point.
John, yeah.
Hey.
Right, Bruce, back to you. We'll go a little bit harder for you. Christopher Eccleston has been in a couple of films for us. What is his rank in 28 Days Later?
Ooh, was he captain? I'm going to go captain.
You're going for captain? Nope. Chris.
damn.
Chris.
You guess if you get it wrong. What's about a point, I guess.
Lieutenant.
It's not lieutenant.
Is it major?
Sergeant. Oh, Major.
It's Major
Fuck,
Harry
I got that
West.
wrong last time.
Right, Chris, I'll give you another one. What is Christopher Eccleston's hobby in Gone in 60 Seconds?
Stealing cars?
Sort of soldier in that.
Nope. I tried to give him an easy one.
I don't know
Bruce,
what it
you
is.
steal an extra point.
It's like woodwork. He like crafts things out of wood, like a carpentry, I guess it would be.
He's a carpenter,
Ah.
yes. Right. So Chris is awful. Bruce, back to you.
Yeah.
In which film would you find General Monroe?
Oh, another name. General Monroe. I'll guess just because it's the only army one I can think of. I'm going to go Age of Tomorrow again.
Not Edge of Tomorrow, Chris?
Fuck.
General Monroe.
General Monroe. I can't think of any. Oh, Suburbs.
the bird.
It's not the Burbs, yeah. Is that not one
Nope.
of the guys is called
It's
General
not.
Monroe?
There's an army guy.
No,
that, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's the Fifth Element, as you were looking for there.
Ah, right. Yeah.
Right, Chris. In which film would you find Lieutenant Mark Rumsfeld?
Oh, fuck, Rumsfeld, I know that name. Is that Edge of Tomorrow?
Not Edge of Tomorrow. Bruce, you get it?
That's the burbs, isn't it?
That's the Burbs.
Oh, for God's sake!
Never have got that if you had said the burbs a minute ago.
Right, Bruce. In which? What is Terry Crews' name in The Expendables?
What's his name? Is it something like Boomer or something like that, isn't it?
It's not Boomer, Chris.
I know, Braybaker.
It's not. It's Hail Caesar. Yes. Right, Chris.
My brain's hurting so
Which
much.
I'm gonna make it easy. Right, easy for you.
Easy mode.
In Edge of Tomorrow, Tom Cruise plays who? Including his military rank.
He gets demoted to a private. But I couldn't tell you his name. Nah, I can't. Yeah, Private Tom Cruise. I don't know.
Right, it's not Private Tom Cruise. Yes.
It's Private. He's right. I feel like he always plays Johns, but I don't know if that's. It's gonna be something quite normal, I reckon. It's Private John Smith.
Oh, that's what I was going to say as well. Now, John Smith.
No, their correct answer was either Major/Private William Cage.
William Cage. Okay. No chance.
William Cage. I don't know.
I thought it was gonna be.
I am 3 in the lead, and it's my go
More.
first.
Right. What rank is Sonya Blade?
Frank is Sonya Blade. Right, she's gonna be quite low down, but not. She's not a private. I'm gonna guess sergeant. She strikes me as a sergeant.
Sergeant Sonya Blade is wrong. Chris, come on, you just point.
Lieutenant Sonya Blade.
Lieutenant Sonya Blade is the correct answer. Right, Chris, you need to notice this one. You can still pull us back. What rank is Brendan Fraser in The Mummy? And for a bonus point, I want his full name as well.
Fucking hell.
Don't worry, this could get thrown over to you, Bruce, and the bonus point still
Yeah.
stands.
I'll never get his full name. Oh, maybe I would.
Come on, Chris, you need this.
I can't
Bring
even
it
think of his name. I want
Yeah,
to say Nick.
I've got it. I've got the right answer over here, Chris. Don't you worry.
Come on, Bruce.
It's something
correct, right?
O'Connell. I'm going to say Nick O'Connell.
Right.
It's not Nick O'Connell.
Bruce,
Was it rank as well? Did you say? Because he,
rank as
Yeah.
well. For the
I think it's
double point, double
is
point.
he Captain Jack O'Connell?
Both wrong. It's Colonel Rick O'Connell.
Rick.
Oh, Nick.
Oh, I had the C for
Right.
Colonel and Captain and Ick. Yeah. Oh.
Right, Bruce. John Cypher plays which character?
John Cypher plays which character?
I'm not even going to give you the movie. If you don't get it right, so we get passed over to Chris, and Chris will get a hint.
Ah, John Cypher. This is usually what I write down the actors' names. Plays which character? John Cypher. Right.
It's a very famous character we've done in the past.
Yeah, I did. I'm trying.
Lots of funny names here.
Oh. Oh, I know which film it is. I'll pass. I don't want to give any clues away.
Right. Clue to Chris. John Cypher was in Masters of the Universe.
Oh, I'll be miles away then. Oh, I know who you played.
I don't fucking know. Oh! Was he not the police officer?
Nope. It was
okay, I'm
Duncan.
lost.
It was Duncan. Yeah, Duncan, the man at arms. The reason was. Yeah.
Duncan Man at Arms. Right, last two for total domination because this quiz is quite fun. Okay, I'm going to give this last one to Chris because he can't win anyway. So,
Yeah.
Bruce, you can have this one.
isn't it?
Oh, right. That's Chris's goal first. Yeah. No, is it? No,
Oh, is it right?
Yeah, you
Right.
said the
Anyway,
best.
Chris,
Yeah.
right. Chris, you can have this one. Lung Fei plays which character in Kung Pao?
Oh, God's sake.
Oh my god.
I will accept one of two answers.
It's a woman with the one boob, isn't it?
Bear in mind, this is all about soldiers.
So probably not.
Okay.
Getting passed over, Bruce.
We are now in we're now in the 90 episodes, so it's quite tough to remember all the details from every single film. I can't even. They had stupid.
Oh! No, Betty.
It was Betty,
Betty.
Master Payne.
Yeah.
That's right.
And Bruce, just because I think you'll fuck this one right up,
Okay.
Adam Driver plays which character in Logan Lucky?
Oh, which character? Oh. Right, they are the Logans. So as Logan is his surname, I think. Is he like no? Is he Richard? Is he Rick as well?
No, he's not Richard. He was Clyde Logan.
Clyde.
Oh.
There we go.
So there we go. That was all the soldiers and military personnel from the 10 Point Podcast universe.
Go back and put it.
You think this is a lot easier than it actually is
It's
to
hard.
remember 90 films worth of people.
It is
So
impossible.
there you go.
I won comfortably still. I was very lucky, I think.
You did absolutely dominate in that one, so yes.
The not a joke. As soon as I passed over, names came flooding
Yeah.
into my head. I was like, oh, it's like that.
It was always the one clue. It was always, oh yeah, that's all I needed to get there. Yeah, well, we better crack on. Point 6 very quickly for the rest of the show. Movies on movies. For me, parodies and references, I thought, this would be quite an easy one for me. Nope. Neil Marshall, the director, writer, quote, "This movie is absolutely loaded with references and homages to other films." He then stated, "I think I got completely carried away." And I'm like, yes, you did, you bugger. Right. First Blood, this entire thing looks like Rambo, as in when they get out of the helicopter, it immediately looks like they're in the same forest as Rambo was. This is one just for me. It reminded me of Alan Partridge, because the first season of his sitcom, some farmers drop a dead cow onto a boat that he's on. So when a dead cow just drops on them, it made me think of that. But actual films, Predator, the entire thing. Jurassic Park, distracting things with flares. Aliens, the entire thing. But immediately, when someone said the sentence, "short, controlled bursts," I'm like, that's something. That's from Aliens. Evil Dead, obvious comparisons to Evil Dead, and Bruce, the character, his full name is Private Bruce Campbell, even after the main actor from the Evil Dead. The Shining, going little pigs while going up the stairs is literally taken from The Shining. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, the Kobayashi Maru in that. Halloween, hiding in the back seat of the car and breath giving him away, plus also hiding in the wardrobe from the killer, both from Halloween. American Werewolf in London, very obvious. Jaws, as soon as I see a gas canister in a film, I think of Jaws. But also telling of the story about like the tattoo and all that is meant to be an homage to our favourite story of all the podcasts about the submarine and the sharks in Jaws. The sentence or the line, "there is no spoon," literally a Matrix line in the film on purpose. Zulu, again, a kind of war film. Them crashing through the walls into parts of the house is a scene in Zulu as well. I haven't seen it, but that's what I've learned. And the final shot of him walking out the door replicates John Wayne's final exit in the film The Searchers, apparently, as well. So there you go. A lot. I've even missed some, I think. And what's never not good, very difficult, because I feel like I wanted to say a team of people defending a house from baddies can be bad, like really bad horror films are bad. So I've gone for flares, because not the trousers, but the actual flares themselves. I feel like use of flares
fuck you up.
Is always, and also it always reminds me of Andy getting a scare when watching Terminator. It's always mentioned in the podcast. Chris, the 10-point podcast universe.
Yeah, this is the second film in a row with like a complete fresh cast.
2 in a row. Nobody, none even of the background dancers have been anything as far as I can tell. I did find out that I think Darren Morph, I think, who played Spoon, he was in like Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and watch it just to see him.
Yeah, he was in one of the more recent stuff.
Just to want to see him going,
have you recast us, Chris?
I did. Like, I was going to split us up. I was going to make Andy Ryan, but I thought, do you know what? I'm going to make us all the soldiers. Bruce, you're obviously Joe. I can imagine if Scotland are playing England or something like that, you'd be full on. Can't believe I'm doing this shit. Mission is fucking football. I would like to think that Andy would be Spoon. Like, I can't believe this hasn't been brought up yet. The fact that he's defiant right to the end, and he's just like, "I hope I give you the shits."
Yeah.
And the fact that Andy loves Witherspoons because that's his name. It's something Witherspoon.
Witherspoon is his name. Yeah.
And I would love to think that I would be Sergeant Wells, but I would 100% be spewing tea lady Terry.
Fair enough.
I've ripped this entire film. That's probably how I would end up being.
I can't disagree with those two, but surely I'm Bruce. Like, I mean, like,
oh yeah, that's too obvious.
Very obvious. Yeah, I'd be as Bruce, but yeah, I won't go any. But yours are definitely better. I agree, Chris. Andy, have you done any recasting? Although you've already told us that you've thought about it.
I've put Jason Statham in instead.
Okay,
pretty good. Can't really beat that one.
Was he in something like this? I mean, we've done the what do you call it?
I don't think he's in anything like Jungly, no.
Called again? When they all came together, the Undefeatables, whatever they're called. What are they called?
Expendables.
He's done him in that before. So, but yeah, I don't know if he's done the Jungle Army Rambo kind of thing.
No.
Point 7 on the podcast is Chrissy's Would You Rather, where Chris gives us a hypothetical.
Well, we've done vampire films, and now we've done with Blade and stuff, and now we've done a werewolf film. So, would you rather be vampire or werewolf?
Vampire. He still get laid.
Vampires are cooler, definitely. Yeah, you can go out in the daytime when you're a werewolf. I guess that would be the big.
Yeah, I'd rather be a werewolf. I
Once
mean,
I'm-
the turning of a vampire is a lot easier. I mean, a little love bite as opposed to get my insides ripped apart and then turning. But yeah, I'd rather be a werewolf. You can still live a normal life apart from, I don't know, like 2 days a month. Or
werewolves
but vampires can fly.
Yeah. Can you, if you could turn to a
you
bat,
can't come out during the day. So like,
Well,
when
in Twilight they can. They just sparkle a little bit.
Sparkly vampires.
I'd be one of them vampires. I just let it sparkle. I'd look fabulous walking down the streets.
Oh my god, it's so bright.
yeah.
I know, if you're a vampire hunter, it's like, oh, fucking sparkle. Oh, he's a vampire, get him.
Get to play baseball.
What happens if a werewolf bit by a vampire?
Oh.
You get an abomination from fucking Underworld who's not neither a vampire nor werewolf and should never be spoken about again. Ruin that.
Yep.
Right.
It
So
really did ruin that franchise.
don't tune in for that podcast at some point then.
Oh, it's coming up at some point because I do like the film apart from that knob.
Oh, okay. I'm glad I've raised that. That's a teaser for him. On to point 8 then, our nominations for our awards at the end of the season. I'll list what
I've only got one.
All right, on you go, Andy. You give a shot.
Michael Pena Award for the storytelling of the tattoo in the butt.
Yep, Sarge's tattoo story I've got from Michael
I've got
Pena.
quite a few actually.
Right, I'll hit mine and I'll come with you, Chris. Best animal. I can't, is the name of the dog Sam? Is that the name of the dog? He's best animal. Best team, obviously.
Where's that name from?
the squad of soldiers, they're good. They make a good team. They might not be especially good soldiers, but they're certainly in it for each other. I've got best acting. I've gone for Kevin McKenna. Best supporting Sean Pertwee. I think they're both very good.
See, I went other way.
Right, fair enough. Well, the
I would say Sean Pertwee because if he's playing that hammered as well, that's even better.
Yeah. I think the actual outside of Megan, the actual lads are all very good. The male performances in this film are really good, and I think that really helps it. I think this film would be a lot worse if there wasn't the acting.
Imagine if they didn't put Megan in it. This would be our first film where not a female turned up, I reckon.
That could be, yeah. Unless one of the werewolves is female, which I'm assuming she was. So that's the acting ones I've done. Best costume, though, is Megan's hat. Her kind of woolly kind of hat she shows up in. It's so big and bushy when she finds them. You don't actually see her face for the first kind of 5 minutes she's in the film because her hat is so big. And it stood out to me, obviously. Best death. I don't have a nominee. Does anyone have what was the best death in the film? That has to be.
I like Spoonie. Spoonie was pretty good for his side. No, don't give me the shits. Well, I'll give you the shits. Sorry.
That's the okay.
What way to go?
That's pretty good. Best entrance. I quite enjoyed the werewolves coming in behind Megan. The big reveal at the end. I know Andy thinks it would be kind of creepy and funny, but it was.
Well, they wouldn't even do that. They would just kind of stand behind her.
Yeah,
that one was all right. It was just when.
See, I was going to say the best entrance is that one because he enters the house.
He does certainly come in. Yeah. Okay. Well, there's 2 nominees. We'll work it out at some point. I've gone worst twist that Megan was a baddie all along. I didn't necessarily know the inner details, but I knew that she was hiding something. I thought she was going to be the one that first made the first werewolf by doing something or something like that. But yeah, I think we knew she was a bad guy. She was also the worst villain in my eyes because villain. Most underused, I think Liam Cunningham. I enjoyed everything he did as Captain Ryan. I don't think he was in it enough. I think he could have been a bit better used. I think stupidest characters, definitely Bruce. Definitely, what an idiot this is for the way he went. And some of our major awards, best line. I've gone for the Red Riding Hood line, but I could be arguing it something else. No. All right, what's the best line, Chris?
Spoons. I hope I give you the shits. That's the best line in the entire thing.
Okay, so double.
I reckon he's up there.
Right, double nominations for Spoon. Michael Pena we've done. Best bellend is Captain Ryan. Liam Cunningham. He was very good at being a villain.
He got that within the first 5 minutes.
Oh, straight away. Yeah.
He could be the quickest bellend.
Well, that's a new one.
him sitting next to the fire or whatever, just being a total buzzkill, really pushed it over. And then my last nomination, the worst plan has to be the actual barn plan, where nobody even investigated whether they were even in there before setting off their method of escape, essentially, to blow up a barn that had nothing in it. It was definitely not a plan. Chris, what have you got that I've not hit?
Well, my best actor I put Sean Pertwee. I went for the biggest jump scare, that fucking cow falling. Gets me every time.
Oh, yeah, jump scare. Yeah, I like it.
I agree with the Michael Pena. I've got the best line. Biggest bellend was the same. Best song, the Tom Hark, the whistling song.
The whistling.
It's like the only other song that's in the film. I know we've got like a worst cop, but this is like worst cop / soldier thing. Terry, he was fucking useless. And yeah, My worst plan was not hot wiring and using the Land Rover to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah. At any point in the car, they just should have left.
Yeah.
Like, no questions asked. Is that it?
I think so. I thought I had another one. Yeah, no, that'll do.
Okay, on to point 9. Point 9 is the moral of the story, what we thought the lesson that this film was trying to teach us was. Andy, why don't you lead us off?
Bitches be crazy.
Yep.
I feel like it actually is. Women can't be trusted, is what I've got. I feel like that's literally what she says at the end.
I tried not to use it, but everything just kept coming back to bitches be crazy.
So many films. It's like, okay, we have a laugh with it and we keep saying it, but I do feel like these films are actually trying to tell us.
Yeah,
like 85 out of the 90 films have been bitches be crazy.
It is almost like that. Like Hollywood has just made women to be bad people.
Yeah.
We've unintentionally just picked the films that we've
picked them all and just proved Hollywood's point. 3 white males all think bitches be crazy every single time.
Was that your one as well, Chris?
Well, it was going to be, but I thought, don't hurt good boys. Not dogs.
Yeah.
You don't hurt
All right, yeah. Good, well done. Yeah, don't shoot the dog. Okay, the 10th point on the 10-point podcast is the 10-point rating, where we rate the movie out of 10. I go first. I don't have a little blurb written here, so I'm going to have to just improvise here. I don't know. I struggled to enjoy it, but it's pretty good. Like, it's good enough. Like, the performances really carry it, I think. The story is a bit iffy. There's not too many instances where I was looking and say, "Oh, right, you can see that, but that mistake over there." Chris has looked at the finer details, which has given it a bit more.
I've seen it that many times. I can see everything that's happening now.
Yeah, and like you see the little bits that actually make it a bit more kind of better on a rewatch and all that. I can't really define why, but I think it is a 5 out of 10. But I think if I was to watch it again and I was like, "Nah, this is rubbish," it could easily drop to a 3. I think it's. Yeah, it's one of the hardest ones to score I think I've ever done, but it feels average, and I would watch it again, and I enjoyed it too.
Well, I'm going with you. I'm just saying 5 straight off because that's where I'm at with it. Same reasons.
A strange one. And Chris, for you?
For me, this is a fucking guilty pleasure. I love this film. I find it funny. I think the action's good. Like, I think the werewolves look awesome. Like I just said, like they're a bit cumbersome and slow when they get to the bits, and it kind of ruins it a little bit, but I'm giving this a 7. I fucking love this film.
There you go.
Guilty pleasure.
The fucking thing. Yeah, it is a guilty pleasure in my mind.
That means the official rating is a 6 out of 10 for Dog Soldier, which is probably higher than I thought it was going to get.
I might give it a 10 actually, to skew up to a 7.
Yeah. So yeah, 6 will be kind of maybe upper half of the table coming into the season. My theme has been Scotland. This one was definitely in Scotland, and I had a Scottish person, and I double hit.
Well, it wasn't in Scotland. The guy was
set in Scotland.
Yeah,
and also, I have also realised that this is now the second film in a row called Dog something with a dog in it. It's also the second film in a row where a character had one of our names, which was potentially a Chris theme from a couple of seasons ago. As in, there's a Bruce in this one, and then Christopher, what do you call him? What's his name? Chris
Judge.
Oh, Chris Judge played Chris last week. So.
Yeah, our names come up everywhere. I dare you to find an Andrew.
Oh, I know.
That's why it ruined me, that fucking theme. I couldn't find an Andrew.
Dog Soldier also fits my theme because I've met Sean Pertwee.
Ah, well, there you go.
And the other dude as well. I can't remember what his name is.
Kevin McKidd?
No, the other one.
Liam Cunningham.
No, the other one.
Who did he play?
Terry, Bruce.
The guy that's in Star Wars, him.
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah.
Darren Morfitt played Spoon.
Aye, yeah.
Okay. Well, there we are. Speaking of things and picks and all that, I believe it's Chris's pick next time. I probably should have checked before we started. I am prepared to be wrong if it's not Chris's pick.
I hope it's my pick, because
I think we've all picked an even number, therefore background to Chris's pick first. So Chris, what's your pick?
I'm going for our golden era of cinema again, the mid-90s.
Come on, 95.
I mean, it's going to happen.
What did you say? Oh, no, it's not 95.
95?
96.
Nearly.
It's a film that predicts a lot of stuff that we take for granted now.
Mm-hmm.
My pick is The Cable Guy.
Cable Guy, right?
Oh, Jesus hell! This is going to be some controversy.
I don't think I've ever. It's one of these films where I think I've maybe tried to watch it twice and never finished it. The Cable Guy.
It's a hard watch. It's a hard watch.
Of course, very.
That's all I'm saying.
newsworthy because Jim Carrey, I forgot how you say his name, is possibly retiring from cinema. So we might.
He can't because he's signed up for Sonic 3. So.
There you go.
Well, it was between that and the Truman Show, and I thought Truman Show's been incepted far too much.
Oh.
So I went for the Cable Guy.
In my eyes, at this point,
I'm sure it's going to bring up some talking points.
Yeah. Okay, there we go then. The Cable Guy for things that have been in films that have been correctly predicted to then happen at some point afterwards, or something.
Is it cable TV?
There's like I couldn't remember, but there's like a big. He says something and it just rattles off everything about smart TVs and the internet and shit like that.
See.
Okay.
There you go. We'll have 7 days or more to find the Cable Guy, give that a watch, and we'll get you next time on the 10 Point Podcast.